going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the JMC podcast, where we maintain focus and stay continuous through all 4 seasons. My name is Felix C. Arroyo. I am the host. I am the journeyman, and I have yet another interview, another episode, and another journey. This week, I'm sitting down with my man Kieran Benton, aka K-Rock. He is a drummer, a phenomenal dude, a mad chill cat. We talk a lot about music and how important it is in his life. And we also talk about the grind of doing gigs and finding a rhythm, how to make, money, how to be good at it, how to find the hustle and maintain it. Because it's not that easy. And there's a lot of people doing this in this life of a musician, playing gigs and doing things like that, playing with multiple bands. He likes to keep his palate fresh, so to speak. So it was pretty cool to get that perspective from him, because I always assumed that a drummer just got used to one style, one genre, maybe one or two. But K-Rock really likes to jump around. And we get to know a lot about that in this episode. So let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any time talking. This right here is Kieran's journey, and these are the Journeyman Chronicles. Let's go. Like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm just like, look at all my kids' toys. Like, remember, that's what I was showing. Like, my wife is, God bless her, she's always like, we should do this and we should, and I'm like, I'm going to do as much as I can, but at the same time, I'm like, they gotta know, like, I'm hustling. This is like I got a day job, and then I do this. So like, maybe one day I can have a studio space,
you have
but
a
until then,
space, but like,
they gotta know, like, this is what I'm working with.
This is a rotating room. I feel you. 100%.
And like, I'm grateful that I have the space, but sometimes it gets tricky. Yeah. But like, and I'm sure you can relate. Like, when you got something you're passionate about, you're willing to play whatever game you got to play to make something happen.
All the time, like I have to. This is how it is. Like, I got gigs coming up right now, for example, on what day is that?
Today's Wednesday, so 4th, October 4th.
Yeah, it's October 20th.
Okay,
I think. I don't even know my own schedule.
No, yeah, dig it.
But yeah, that day.
When that day comes.
Yeah, when that day comes, I have to pick up my kids at 6. I got to be back in Lancaster at 6:30. Okay. So I can be at Telus at like 6:45 for the pre-show interview. And then we don't go on until like 8:30.
Wow.
So it's like hustle home, have my mom there, sit with the kids for like a half hour, do the interview, come back home, sit with them for like an hour, and then come back, do the gig.
So you're leaving after the interview and then coming back?
Yeah.
Oh,
then because we close the show.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you're gonna be there for a minute then.
Right. So it's like I can sit there and like I want to see my homies and everything. I respect them all and everything, but like I still love my time with my kids. So that's what I mean. It's like a 2-way street. So it's like you got to figure out how to like balance it all. Yeah. So like, and where Telus is compared to my house, it's like a 2-minute drive.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, come back, hang out, do the gig, be done, come back. I mean, like, there's weekends where I have gigs with my kids, and I'm like, I hate that. I hate that feeling. Yeah. But I have to do that.
Like you're being pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to do that.
No, and I dig it. And what I appreciate about that is the, like, I could hang here, but whatever opportunity you get, like, to honor, like you said, your children. Yeah. Like, I know what that's like. And there's times where I feel bad, where I'm like, damn, like I had time with them yesterday, but they were getting on my nerves and they were arguing, and I had this, I had to raise my voice a little bit, and I'm like, that's the only time I really had with them in like 2 days. You know what I mean? But
you still gotta be a parent.
You know what I mean? It's like the different hats you're wearing.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's like the grind and whatever we got to do to get to this point, because the end result, maybe you can relate is like, I need to get to the point where this is my gig. And then like I dictate my schedule more accordingly.
Right.
As opposed to right now, it's kind of like I got to go to work. And then when I come here, today was a perfect example. My Wednesdays, it's like, my kids know, my wife knows, she helps me. Yeah. As soon as we get home from work, it's boom, boom, boom. 6 o'clock, I'm already moving shit around because I need to set up, and I need. By the time our interview will be done and I put everything away, it'll be 11:30, midnight, and then I wake up. Know. You know what I mean?
I already know. And then the next day starts. After that. I
got hit to you and is it Amelia? I forget. Yeah. Is that did I pronounce it incorrectly?
No.
Perfectly. Okay. Perfectly. Amelia. I have a sister named Amelia.
Okay.
So when I saw her name, I was like, oh, it's a little different spelling. I was like, I wonder how she pronounces it. But I actually had her scheduled, and she got COVID like 3 weeks ago, so we had to reschedule. Yeah. But I saw you two performing. My wife and I were at the cigar bar, like probably at the end of the spring. Can't remember when. We were leaving.
Yeah.
And you guys were back behind Central Market, the little brick road back there.
Yeah.
By the parking lot.
Yeah.
And you were on the drums, and she was on the keys singing. And I was like, that's kind of dope. It was we stood there, we listened for a little bit. I was like, that's actually kind of hot. It was a cover. I forget the name of the song. So the irony is I was like, man, I'd like to talk to them, but I didn't know your name. I didn't know the name of the group. It was just in passing.
Yeah. I know what day you're talking about. Yeah, we were right there, like on that medium part, whatever you want to call it, right there by Dipco.
Yep.
And Josephine's and everything.
Exactly, right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, so I kind of like was looking around, and then I forget how this happened in what order, but eventually somebody shared something with you. Yeah. And I was like, right? Yeah. And then at the same time, Nibby hit me up.
Yep. That's exactly what it was.
Okay. Nibby was like, I got people for you. And at the time, I already had Tony scheduled.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had Tony scheduled and didn't know I was working with him at Tate. So small world is what I'm getting at. It was like, man, I really want to get to know this story and get to know you guys, but I didn't know the names, and all of a sudden it was just like, whoop.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty dope experience for me because following you now on social media, you're involved heavily with different projects or different bands. I counted 3 today in my trying to gather. I try to gather a little bit of information because I like things organic. But I'm like,
appreciate that.
You're busy. So when you're talking about your life schedule, how is it when you've got several different bands that you're working with? Is that what it is, or
I'm honestly from the standpoint of me, I'm a musician.
Gotcha.
And so I just have these limbs as a drummer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got these limbs as a drummer, so I reach out and I wanna like figure out where I can influence, but also like where I can just have a spot to just be me.
Okay.
And so 3, and I'm not trying to have a big head or nothing.
Nah, go for it.
But 3 is like an understatement.
Okay.
right now. No, just because I'm freelance for the most part. I'm freelance. I have my band. My band Cabbage Hill.
Yeah.
Love Cabbage Hill. We're going through revamps as far as like how we're going to do new music and everything like that because we're really new. Like we haven't been doing stuff for a long time at all.
Okay.
So we're actually playing SO Arts on this Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, for First Friday. But I'm in about 6 or 7 projects right now, just as far as like collaborations and also freelance.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a hard thing to balance as far as just that, but also I mean like, in all honesty, like where I'm at in my life, like I'm kind of in a good standing as far as how I can balance all of that.
Okay.
Like I live in Lancaster, you know, like I get my kids like every other weekend. And so when I have my kids, I try to always not have gigs on that weekend. Like I might have one, you know, in all honesty, but like it's just how it goes sometimes, you know. And they understand, you know. I tell them the truth all the time. Like I gotta work.
How old are your kids?
My son's 9,
okay,
and my daughter is 5.
Okay.
So they're the greatest.
Yeah.
Because they have all personality and all like just grown tendencies that they want to have right now. You know what I mean? It's like whatever they want to have is like, oh, okay, this is how you feel. Okay. You know, okay. I feel this. I'm gonna let you talk about it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you realize you're wrong, come talk to me.
Yeah,
but that's
exactly.
They're great kids though. They're great kids. My son's like smart as hell. Like he's had all A's. You know, he's in 4th grade right now. Like all A's. Like,
gotcha.
He's a beast. You know, my daughter's going to school right now. But I mean, as far as what you were asking, like juggling all these projects, like, dude, in all honesty and transparency, I forgot I had this tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was looking you up, I was like, this guy's busy. And I meant to hit you up yesterday because I like to do it the day before.
Yeah.
I was like, let me get a hold of him as ASAP because I got a feeling he's busy. He may not have remembered this interview.
I didn't remember that
and that happened several times with him, and I get it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, when you found out you had this interview today, did you miss anything that you had planned already?
Yeah, I did. It's all good. It's all good, though. It's all good. Like, I was at work. You know what I mean? I was in the truck because I'm a trash man in the daytime.
Yeah.
So I'm in the truck. And he texted me, and I was just like, damn. My driver's like, what? And I'm like, I forgot all about this podcast I got to do this evening. He was like, what are you talking about? Is it here? I'm like, yeah, it's here. It's cool. Yeah. But, like, I had a whole rehearsal scheduled out with Cabin Chill, and I was like, I got to cancel it. Like, because I didn't want to miss this. I didn't want to have to, like, reschedule it or anything. Because, I mean, me and Riley, my guitar player, like, we're going to be good. Like, we have a good chemistry.
You got that repertoire with you.
Yeah. We got, it's more like a repetition. The repertoire is like,
Okay.
So it's like we can freestyle.
Okay.
We can freestyle. We can improv for the most part. But it's SOR. So I mean, that's the spot to do it at.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good spot to do it. So
I've been getting kind of hip to that place a little bit. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah. But, no, it's a beautiful spot. It's a good collective of different artists and everything there. I like that spot.
So you said you're freelancing.
Yeah.
How do you get to this point? Obviously, you're musically inclined. You said it yourself. You consider yourself a musician. So my assumption is, and obviously I'd like you to fill me in, has music played a big role in your life during your upbringing or no?
It's kind of 50-50, honestly.
Was it percussion or more so any kind of music?
It was neither.
Really?
I mean, it was more. When you say any kind of music, I mean, it's not what you would think. Like I grew up with my mom, single parent, and she was in church heavy.
Okay.
So, and she was a choir director.
Okay.
So I grew up with a lot of church time.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, so she was choir director, always singing. She was a tenor. She killed it. She played clarinet in high school, but that kind of transferred just to her ear.
Yeah. And
just timing, I guess, because she just inherited that choir director role at the time.
Okay.
And at that point, when she inherited that role, I was still singing in the choir. And I was like kind of like uneasy because it's like, oh, my mom's choir director.
I got you.
And every single time there's like a song, if nobody's like stepping up,
she's going to call you out.
I'm getting called out. So I'm getting called out all the time. And so I started growing up, hitting puberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like voice was changing, and I started playing drums. And so I thought I was good.
Okay.
I thought I was smooth sailing. I was like, I ain't got to sing no more. I'm just going to play drums. And she was like, no, you going to sing and play drums. So I was like, nah. But like that's what kickstarted it all. But it was gospel music at first. And then just being around my mom, it was just Stevie Wonder, all the time. You know, it was that type of music all the time. So it was just Motown hits.
Yeah.
24/7, good hits. You know, I lived in Harrisburg growing up. So it was just 1400 to touch when I was a young boy because I'm 35.
Gotcha.
So like AM radio was in.
Yeah, I know it.
AM radio was in, so I played all the time. So it was more of the vocals that played a part as far as like, okay, I love music. This is something that's speaking to me.
Yeah.
But that backbeat, those drums, like did a lot for me. And it wasn't until I was in about 5th grade that I saw this one guy playing drums at our school, and his name's Gabe, and he's still playing today. And I was just like, yo, I want to play drums.
Okay.
And that's just where it was.
Do you even remember the person that somewhat inspired you?
Oh yeah. I ended up being in high school with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a junior when I was a freshman.
Okay.
So I ended up playing with him, and we're still friends today. He plays in the Air Force band Max Impact. Like, they literally just played the halftime show for the Buffalo Bills game last Sunday.
Get out.
Yeah.
That's
like,
dope.
They're doing big stuff.
Yeah.
So, great dude. Like, he was the inspiration, like, all right then and there. And
Gotcha.
so my grandfather bought me a drum set after I, like, annoyed them enough with just playing a snare drum, I feel like. And then I was just in the basement, and it was between that and church and just radio and just all the music that I could soak in.
Yeah.
You know, because I was mostly an R&B and gospel head, you know, so it wasn't until like, man, I don't even really know. Like, I want to say old as far as like in my 20s that I started like branching out into like different music, because I quit music altogether after I graduated high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I quit.
What was the point of that? What was the reason behind that?
I didn't think it was going to benefit me.
Okay.
In any type of way.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not playing drums no more. I'm going to college, and I'm going to like figure it out.
Yeah.
Without music. But it kept calling me at different times. You know, it was like, oh, we need a drummer for this. Okay. I played. And then once I got back from college, which was like 2010, so that was like at least a 4-year hiatus from music. I got back in like 2010, back from Lockhaven, and slowly started trickling in. Like, I had some calls, like playing for church again. So like 2011, I started playing for like church again.
Okay.
And that's all I was doing for a while. And then the bass player at my church was like, hey, you want to play in our band? I was like, yeah, cool. I'll sit in, whatever. I'll fill in. And that was like the whole like filling concept, like starting, like brewing.
Gotcha.
But I didn't really understand it at that point. I was like in too deep. I was like, okay, I'm in this band. And that's it. And it wasn't until I talked to a friend of mine recently, saying, great dude. He was like, you can't do that. Like, play with as many people as possible. But that was like 10 years out of the scope, though. You know, like, I didn't know that then. So back then it was just, this is where it is, and I'm going to focus on that, which was good and bad. Okay. Because I started getting frustrated. With the music, and I didn't know why I was frustrated, because my mind was like adolescent wise, as far as like, okay, I'm playing music out, like I'm playing music for money, I'm playing gigs and shit like that. I didn't know that mindset. I didn't know like how to hustle at that point. I was like, this is just where it is. So I was getting frustrated just with the consistency of the gigs, the music of the gigs, the quality of the music we were playing for these gigs. It was just frustrating.
Okay.
And so at this point, it was around like 2017 that I was just like, I got to do something. And so my homie got back in the States, and we went to Amsterdam. Had a great talk. This was like 2017, and this was like a hard year because I lost both my grandparents that year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I lost both my grandparents 2017, literally like 3 months apart. It was like I lived in the funeral home that year. Yeah. I lived in the funeral home and the gym that year. But that's when I really realized, or as far as like just like put that thought in my mind that like I need to do music at some point, because my grandfather bought me my first drum set.
Okay, this is the same grandfather.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I mean, like, there was that support there, you know, like, he bought me my first drum set. He helped give me my first, like, snare drum.
Yeah.
He supported without really, like, any, like, verbal support.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was just like, there's a drum set for you. Bye.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And, you know, so with that, like, that really just carried heavy, like, throughout, those 10 years of just back and forth between music and trying to, like, figure out my place in society, you know, as far as, like, going to school and everything, because school was not for me. You know, I couldn't deal with that pressure as far as I'm my own responsibility. Like, it's not, like, up to anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, like, I was young.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Straight out of high school. Like, when I got in college, I was still 17. I didn't turn 18 until June, because I got right out of college. Well, sorry, right out of high school in May. Yeah. And then we went to do this, like, summer program up in college. And so I didn't turn 18 until, like, June 18th.
Wow.
So that's what I mean. Like, at that point, it was just, like, freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like freedom. Do what you want. Like, as long as you show up for class, it doesn't matter. At least that's what I thought.
No, I did college 1 year, and I know that life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you were like 3 hours away from home.
Bro, I was 5.
Oh, you was out the way.
I was all the way up towards Erie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was at Edinburgh University.
Edinburgh.
I went there 1 year, and I was like, you're right. It's like there's like a liberating independence.
Yeah.
It's like I decide this shit, but
right.
You know, you don't realize that you still have a responsibility, but you're like, I wake up and be like, oh, I'm not going to class today.
Oh, man, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Those first 2 years, I didn't do nothing, man. I was mass media communications, and I was just doing parties with my major. And so that was like in the beginning stages of, like, social media and everything. Like, we were still out here on MySpace. Like, Facebook just came out when we were, like, freshmen in college. It was like, oh, okay, you can only do this with your college emails.
Yeah,
that was the only way you could get.
Oh, but the college emails, I forget that shit. Going back to what you said about that you felt that you were in a band. That you were committed. Like, this is what I'm. I've never been in a band, but people that I know that are in them, not just drummers, but any type of musician, it seems like that's the wave where it's like you need to be able to fill in and move about and play. You said play with different players is where it's at, because there's a sense of freedom in that, and also you're not tied down. You can kind of like pivot. So when that came about for you, when you were like, I gotta switch this up. Is that where then the learning how to hustle, like you said, to make the money, to figure, like, that grind, did that come along with you making your freelance jump?
It took time.
Okay.
It wasn't right then and there.
Okay.
Like I said, I got frustrated.
Yeah.
I got frustrated and started pivoting then.
Okay.
So I got frustrated and started pivoting, but it wasn't like I really pivoted hard. Like, I guess you could say I pivoted hard because I went from, like, a funk R&B soul, like, 80s, 70s funk covers band.
Gotcha.
To a metal band.
Okay.
So I guess it was kind of like a hard pivot.
Yeah.
That was like searching on Craigslist and everything. Like, I found, like, some band auditions, and found this one band in Butte, and so I auditioned. I didn't get it. They was just like, you can be fill-in.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, cool. And so that's kind of when it started. Is once I, like, actually pivoted to a whole new genre that wasn't my thing. That's when it kind of started, especially right after that, because, like I said, they told me I could be fill-in. And I was like, all right, so it doesn't mean I'm having it. So I still need something else. So,
okay.
Yeah, I went from that fill-in, like, I'm keeping that fill-in, to I went to a drummer in, like, a Jimi Hendrix Experience, like, tribute band.
Yeah.
And they were great. Like, to the T, everything sounded like Jimmy. Like, it was scary. like watching this dude play. I was like, yo, this dude is Jimmy.
Wow.
And I kind of realized at that point that, and that's just for me, this is just my own opinion, that metal was more like hard rock, was kind of the same as like jazz.
Okay.
You know, it was kind of like the same as like classic rock with Jimmy. Like it was all those things were like intertwined.
Okay.
And so that's when I realized, I was like, I'll never be the best drummer. I'll never be the best like teacher. I was like, but I can like be as versatile as I can be.
You can adapt to.
Yeah. I was like, if I can be as versatile as I can be, I can grab all these gigs, you know, until I find my sound, or I found like the gig that I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, so I figured that out around, oh man, I guess that was 2018, I guess.
So that's not too far. We're about 5 years ago then.
Yeah. I want to say it was 2018. I figured that out. Yeah, that was 2018. I figured that out. 2019 is then when I moved to Lancaster. And when I moved to Lancaster, it was because the job I was working was here.
Okay.
But I ended up not working at the job anymore. Like I got fired and everything. Everything blew up. And then that's when, like, unfortunately, like how the saying is, it's like once you hit rock bottom, it's like you just built.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, like I just hit rock bottom. And so I just started going to open mics, you know, with that concept of like I can play with people. Like I'm not the best, but I can play with you.
Yeah.
And so I just went to open mics every day that I could. And
you went to open mics like to shoot your shot at people that were singing? Like, yeah, I'll play while you're singing?
Yeah.
Get out.
I would do that with people playing singing, just different people playing instruments.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I would just run everywhere I could and just play open mics because I didn't have anything else at that time. You know, I didn't have a job. Like, I had a bouncer job, but that was like only on the weekend. So it was like, what am I doing with all this other time?
You did it. You were a bouncer?
Yeah. I was a bouncer at Annie Bailey's for like a year. Yeah, for like a year. And then Conway Social Club came around, I think, like 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2020. So I was working out for a little bit, and then pandemic hit, and then I became a trash man.
How'd you get into the bouncing? Like, was that just like there's a job available, I'm gonna take it?
It was just knowing people.
Yeah.
It was just knowing people. Dude I work with at the factory, you know, he used to do that part time.
Yeah.
Big dude, Kenny. And so he was like, oh, you ever need a job, let me know. And so here I am. I'm like, hey man,
yeah,
I need a job. And he was like, I got you. And so, you know, he pointed me in the right direction, got me a job, you know, kept me afloat. It kept my like mentality as far as like my just my mental health like in a good place.
Yeah.
You know, because at that point, like it was just like, what is there?
Yeah.
But music was just knocking. It was just knocking. And so, like I said, I just did the research and just started going to every open mic that I could and just shooting my shot. And then like started getting lucky and had like this one band that I was playing for. Shout out to Net Lemons. You know, they started the beast that's here right now. But yeah, I love them. You know, they kind of inspired like how I am as a musician now. You know, because once I realized that I'm not going to be the best drummer, but I want to like inspire some of the best musicians that I can. If I can do that, I feel like I've done my job.
Yeah.
But Knit Lemons, you know, we were kind of just trying to figure out the direction we were going in. And then like we had a gig before we had any music set to play. So it was like, you know, we got this gig, like what music are we going to play? This is like
the cart before the horse, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like, what music are we going to play? So we're sitting around, we're playing around, and then Chris, guitar player, starts playing this one song. And I'm like, I know that song. He's like, you know that? And so I start playing drums behind him. I start singing and playing. And then right then and there, everybody was like, this is what we're doing. Change your plans right now. Whatever songs you know, like talking about me, whatever songs that I know that I can sing and play drums, we're doing them.
Okay.
That's just what's going to happen. And so that's what kickstarted everything.
Okay.
As far as like the singing and drumming thing. Again, you know, apart from when my mom started it like when I was younger, because at that point I hated it.
Yeah.
But then at this point, I was just like,
yeah, the irony that it's come back the way it did. I think the one of the cool things when I'm interviewing people and I'm listening to their journey, there's a lot of things, even though the journeys are different. There's like some common ground in some of them. Like one of them is the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Because I've had mine, and I know a lot of people that have had theirs, and you're right. It's almost like when you're there, there's nothing else to do but build or just stay there and wither away.
You can't do that.
And you can't. It's building yourself back up, but there's also like a liberating feeling where it's just kind of like fuck it, fuck it, and you're just gonna just do whatever.
It's both of them.
Yeah.
It's both of them. Like you gotta have both of them, because I've had both of them. Like I've had those moments where I was like very reserved, and then those other moments where I was just like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. Like I'm going for it. I'm letting it out.
Yeah.
You know, and those were like the hardest times, but the best times. Like I went from like going to open mics and only playing once to like going to open mics and playing like 20 times
a night.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because just like that ear, you know, that sound for me, like people would start to hear it. They would get that ear for the way I would play, and they were like, "Yo, you want to play with me? You want to play with me?" So there would be like open mics where I'm on the drum set for like an hour straight, and it's just an open mic, and I'm like, I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm sure you're getting tired. But I mean, to do it. I'm sure you're in the moment. You're not. Are you?
Yeah, it's definitely all in the moment, because you have to adapt to every single person that's coming up there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You know, and that's and that was the ear that I had. You know, the ear that I had came from playing with church, because not everybody can sing in church, but they think they can sing in church. And so when they think they can sing in church, you know, my job as a musician is to back them up and make them feel like they can sing and follow them, basically. You know, I have to follow them. So if they're missing the one, I gotta miss the one.
Okay.
You know,
how are you obviously you're hearing that. Are you then preparing the next time around? You're like, okay, now I know you're gonna do this at this time. I mean,
you have to.
I know what you mean, but how are you doing it? Like, how can you make somebody sound better with the drums?
All right, a quick example. If somebody in this situation is missing the one.
When you say missing the one, what do you mean?
I mean like missing the one, missing the downbeat in the beginning of a measure. You know, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
If they're missing that one, I'm gonna drag my feel out a little bit more.
Okay.
And make it sound like we're on the right page. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm gonna drag that fill out instead of just going. I'm going. Like I'm dragging it out because I know, like, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna miss that one. They're either gonna drag it out or they're gonna cut it short. You know, and that's just repetition. And that was just like coming up with just, you know, whatever you had. You know, it was the people that I had in church, or it was the equipment that I had with the drums, you know, like I worked with it all. It didn't matter. It wasn't like, oh, I need the best gear. I need to hear everything, you know, like there wasn't no speaker right beside me that I could hear like the singer, you know, I had to hear the speaker that was in front of me.
Yeah. You don't have those little ears.
Yeah. That's what I mean. This is early 2000s. This was like 2000 at this point. So I mean, like technology was on the rise.
Yeah.
But like sound wise with churches, they wasn't putting that money into it. Like if they wasn't no like big church that was really like banded out with like a whole bunch of people in the band and the pit and everything like that. This is just a little church in Stilton that got an organ player and a drummer, and we just making it happen. Because at that point, every church didn't even have drums. But back to what I'm saying, like I'm dealing with the speakers. And it's like, okay, I can't hear it at the volume I want to play. So I need to like bring my volume down so that I can hear everything. And so that, you know, fast forward like 15 years later, that like came back with the open mic situation. You know, that came back. It was like, okay, I need to listen. Like this is my, you know, my like skill.
Yeah.
This is my skill, is listening.
It's being able to do that.
Yeah. But it's more like, exactly. It's not like the drumming is my skill.
Right. It's the listening. The listening. Yeah.
It's the listening that's my skill. And like, that was what people loved about me the most. They were like, you listen, like you actually make it like the song very like flowy. It becomes an orchestra. It seems like you know where we're going. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't.
Like, thank you very much. You're very kind.
I say that all the time. Like, I don't. Like, I just listen. I follow you. You know, like I've been following these singers that do whatever they want. I've been following these musicians that like, I'm following their head nods and everything, their mannerisms and everything. Yeah. And so all of this experience tied into like now in an open mic situation in a secular way. Yeah. We'll say. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. I can vibe with all of this. But like, it just comes down to this. Yeah. The whole time. Like I can do almost anything.
Is the challenge like exciting for you?
Oh yeah, it's exciting all the time. It's exciting, but it's scary as hell all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like all the time, because people just really just put you on the spot and think that you can just. Like, I mean, okay, so in the open mic situation, it's like, hey, can you play with me? And I'm like, yeah, I can play with you. And they're like, oh yeah, these are your originals. I don't know your originals. I don't know you.
They're original to you.
Yeah. So it's like, all right. So it's like, now I got to like follow. I got to try to follow where this person's going. You know, it's kind of like they're driving their car with no lights on in the dark because they know where they're going. Yeah. But I'm behind them with my lights and I'm trying to like follow them. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got you. That's exactly what it's like. It's like, all right, I'm going to follow you as close as I can. I'm going to be on your ass. But like, I don't know
where we're going
for anything where we're going, you know? And that's how it was so great with me and Amelia, you know? Like Amelia saw me playing at an open mic and like I'm playing and I'm looking over and I see her and I'm like, who is this chick that's just staring at me? Yeah. And so later on, like after we played, like she came up to me and she was like, I want you to play with me. I feel like you're great. My name's Amelia. You know, it's like the wildest introduction, but the greatest introduction ever because we ended up playing like a few times at an open mic. Like we played probably 2 or 3 times at an open mic. And she was like, hey, I got a gig next Saturday. Can you play that with me? And I was just like, yeah.
That's cool.
And it was just because of listening. Because of listening, she understood that style of like how I'm going to like give you the light of like where I'm going to go with it. Okay. But I'm going to share that with you. Yeah. I'm going to share that.
Creativity-wise?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to share that creativity with you. It's always going to be that, you know. And some people like it and some people don't, you know. In some people's cases, it's like I overplay. Okay. But in other people's cases, they love it. Gotcha. You know, but you got to learn to deal with that.
Well, yeah. I would think like listening to you talk, I was kind of like, like you always see these movies and shit of like, of this type of character who is a musician that's adapting and playing gigs and that's the life and the grind and the hustle. And it's like, you do have to adapt to different people, but not only like people, not only music, but it's like people. Like,
oh yeah,
what kind of vibe does this person bring? Yeah. Because you're right. Like you're watching body language. Where are we going? Are you not gonna like it that I play a little bit? I mean, it is what it is. I didn't know where you were going. That's you know what I mean. Like I'm sure is that something that comes with the experience. That's just part of the night that we're going to have. It's nothing personal. It's just like it is what it is. Yeah.
It's nothing personal, and that's what I mean. Like it's give and take. Like some people are gonna like it and some people don't. You know, those people that don't like it, you know, like over time, you know, they definitely going to express that. They're going to express it. They're going to say, hey, this is the direction I want to go in. And I'm like, okay, I feel that. You know, like I've had problems with that, honestly. Like if people were telling me the direction they're wanting to go in, and I'm like,
percussion wise, that ain't working with
I'm
you.
like, yo, you gotta chill. Like, let me bring myself to it.
Yeah.
You know, but like at that time, I had to realize like I'm still like new.
Yeah.
With everything, so it's like I have to learn how to bend, and I have to learn how to like bring myself into whatever that artist has to bring to the table also. And so at that point, I was just fully this is me.
Okay. Oh, I got you now. Okay.
You know what I mean? When it came to like originals,
yeah,
I was like, this is me.
Okay.
This is me. You know, once I felt like
it's
I was
a new original now.
Right. Once I felt like I was doing my shit, I was like, this is me.
Yeah.
This is me. You take it. I'm David Ruffin. Straight up. But like I had to get humble. I had to get like basically just like pushed out of the way. You know, I had to get pushed out of the way because I felt like I was the way once I was like the singer and drummer at times. Like I'm not saying it got to my head, but I'm saying like I felt that I mattered more in a sense.
You felt like maybe like they needed you because you were. I mean, in all fairness, I always felt like the drummer, the percussion, the ensemble that is the percussionist and the instruments that come with that are the ones that build the foundation of what everything is playing upon. Like, I've always felt that way. I've always had an affinity to drums. I played drums when I was a kid. And then I got to high school and I was just like, all right, I can't do marching band anymore, so I'm done. You know what I mean? But
at least you did it.
I did it 1 year.
Yeah.
But when it came to drums, it was just always like, you know, even when it came to like for me, it was just like hip hop music. It was always like the boom and the bap. It was important,
heavy, that
you needed to have that.
Facts.
So I can understand why maybe you felt that way.
Yeah.
But my assumption is that in order to perfect the craft that you were maybe inadvertently honing in on, because I'm sure you weren't at the time realizing it, but you were building a craft where the point is to be able to be like, all right, well, how do you want it? Because I can do this, but I'm gonna give it to you how you want it.
Exactly.
And that's the bread and butter, I'm assuming.
That's definitely the bread and butter, because like, especially with Amelia, like I'll do stuff with her and I'll be like, we can do this any way you want it to go. We can double time it, we can swing it, we can make it heavy, we can make it airy. What are you feeling?
Yeah.
You know? But it's just, for me, and I've said this plenty of times, it comes to the groove. It just matters the groove. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I've played country songs.
Yeah.
What's the groove? I've played metal songs. What's the groove? I've played jazz. What's the groove? I played gospel. What's the groove? You find that groove, you lock it in, and it's a heartbeat. You feel it.
Yeah.
You know, it makes everything just turn.
Yeah.
You know, and so if I'm fighting it, if I'm doing too much for a groove, hey, respect. But that's me today speaking that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Back then was like, this is stupid. This is stupid. None of this makes any sense. You want me to do 4 on the floor? No. No. You don't want me to play here?
Fuck it.
What am I here for?
What am I here for?
What am I here for? You understand who I am?
Yeah, okay,
Look at
I got
me.
you. Yeah.
Like I really wasn't that way outwardly.
But you were feeling that, like,
but that's what I felt.
The chip on your shoulder type.
That's what I felt.
Yeah.
It was just I didn't respect input that much. I didn't respect, I can't even say constructive criticism, but just input.
I get it. Yeah.
You know, like, because I'm not telling you what I'm wanting you to play, but it changed quickly because then I started making my own music.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I started making my own music, and then it was like, oh shit, I see what they're saying now.
Okay.
I was like, I know, like, you have that vision of what you want, but at the same time, you have to have that respect for the person, for that musician, that they're going to deliver themselves within that too. They're not just going to play what you want. You can get anybody to play what you want.
Yeah.
You know?
Otherwise, otherwise, to your point, why am I here then?
Exactly.
I think it's a give and take of like what you've once felt and where you are now, where I can give you what you want, but at the end of the day, you're asking me for a reason, so I gotta put my flavor in there a little bit. You have to put in what you're feeling. My assumption,
but the flavor comes with time, though.
Well, yeah.
As far as like, you know, it's like marinating. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're a griller or anything.
I like to throw it down a little bit. You got to marinate.
But when you marinate, you know, that's when you're marinating your own sound. You know, and that's something that's tough for every musician. You know, you would think that if I'm listening to somebody play keys, that like I'm not gonna know who that is. Like you're just gonna be like, oh, who's that? But no, like once you're in that world.
You can start to
really. I mean, something simple as like listening to the Beethoven.
Okay.
Or you know, when you hear when you hear something like that, I don't even know if that was Beethoven right now. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it is. But when you hear that, you're like, oh, that's so and so. And so like you have to do that too as a musician. But it takes time. You know, it's not like something you're just gonna come out on the scene and just be like, this is my sound, dig it or not.
Yeah.
Nah, it's like you got to come on the scene. You got to be very respectable. You got to be very nice. You got to be very humble. You got to be very cordial. You got to do all those things, you know. And you have to work with people, and you can't do that if you're just too blinded by the sound that you're trying to create. Like you create your sound in your own time, but as me, a musician, a drummer, I gotta play what they got.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I mean. It's just full circle back to like the whole church stuff, you know? Like, but you gotta marinate that sound, and after you start to marinate that sound, that people, they want your sound. And so then it's just like cool.
Yeah, now you're not fighting for it.
You're not fighting, but it's scary though still.
Yeah.
Cuz it's like you still can like give them different styles of you.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now you're probably wondering what style of you should you give?
Exactly. Exactly. It's then like what style of you? Because like some people are just gonna want you. They're just gonna want whatever you give. But some people are just gonna still give you that direction, and that's great.
Yeah.
Because we're working on this together. So like you tell me your direction, I'm cool with it now. I'm cool with all of that. But some people just go out there and just say, "Do you?"
That's cool. I think a lot of, from outside looking in, people, I would think, me included, can look at, you know, like what you're doing and be like, that's fucking incredible, which it is. But you don't really think about the different levels of what you are thinking, putting together, dealing with, working with, all because you're able to do what you do. It's not like it's just something like, I'm just going to show up and throw it down and everyone's going to enjoy it. It's a respect for the craft, like you said. Obviously, it's an appreciation and respect to whomever you're working with. Also,
definitely.
That goes into like, well, how should I do this? How do you want? And then I never really thought of it like that, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you mentioned was the whole process of how I used to think and how I look at it now is that's growth.
Yeah.
And being able and humble, like you said, you had to humble yourself. Humility, just in general, across the board with whatever we do in life, to get to that point to be like, I'm probably wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Right.
And that's okay. Let me listen to what you have to say and put it into consideration. I still deal with that today.
We all have to.
Right. But that's where growth, once you're able to lock in and be like, it's okay for me to say that and adhere to it and own it, and then fuck it, well then let's try it your way. Let me listen to what you have to say. Then you grow. So I mean, considering that and what your story is, that to me is just like, man, you like grew them since early 2000s to where you are now. It's clear if had you not honored that, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now, as far as like, to the level that you're doing.
Yeah, no, completely. Because like I said, like early 2000s, I was like done with it.
Yeah.
I was like I graduated high school in 2006, 2007. You would have never knew I played drums. Like, you would have had no idea. Like, I never.
Was it like at that time though? But you said it was like for 4 years after high school. Mm-hmm. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just kind of feeding off of what my own personal experience, where it was kind of like at that time in one's life, you're hearing a lot of what are you going to do with your life? Is that what's playing in there? Also couple that with the fact that you were probably like, I need to figure this out, and I just can't do the drums. Like,
well, what was playing in that point of my life was my major, and my major was mass media communications, and so I really wanted to just bring like a hip hop, I wanted to bring a Power 99 to Harrisburg.
Oh, that would have been dope.
That was my goal.
Yeah.
At that point. And so like I made great relationships with, different people in my major.
Sure.
And everything. But apart from that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play football and get a walk-on scholarship. I don't know. I just wanted money.
Yeah.
I just wanted money.
Why not though?
I just wanted money. Like, I could have played basketball, but I was too short for my position because I played like a forward in high school.
Okay.
And so in college, they were like, you got to play like a 1 or a 2. I was like, that's not going to happen. So I played football. So with the football, I made the team, but they wasn't going to give me no walk-on money. So I was like, well, this is pointless. Yeah. So then I played rugby, which was great because it was just a club sport. It was just a club sport. So like my coach was like a student. Gotcha. So we did whatever we wanted. Like it was fun. It was great. But still my major was still like, communications, and it was music focused. Because I was doing like choir at that time too. I was trying to get like a minor in music. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why I minor in music. Trying different shit. Though, I was just all over the place. I didn't know what I was doing, and so shit. So with like that break, like from like 2006 to like 2010, I was still focused on music, but I wasn't focused on making music.
Okay.
I was focused on like covering music. I wanted to be the music commentator. I wanted to be the disc jockey, whatever you want to call it back in the day. The DJ. I wanted to be that radio personality. Yeah. That's what I wanted to be. Like I wanted to be in music, but my mind wasn't focused on making music at all.
I got you.
At all. So like within that 4 to 5 years, it was just college, party, rugby, and party. Yeah.
Rugby's no joke. I've never played. I've seen it. I just always thought that shit, that's a brutal sport, is it not?
It's very brutal. It was great. It was
See, I think about that, and you were a bouncer. Like, do you enjoy the physicalness of things?
I don't enjoy the physicalness. It was just I enjoyed competition.
Yeah, okay.
I enjoyed competition. Like, and in the moment of both of those sports, it didn't feel physical.
Okay.
It just felt like competition. It was like, I'm getting hit, but like my adrenaline is just taking over right now. That I'm just like, I just want to win.
Yeah.
I want to beat you.
Yeah.
I just want to beat you. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that like fight really. In high school, I was kind of like soft. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I want to beat you, but like, I'm trying to score like 20 points though. So like, let's make this happen. It wasn't like So, so once I got to college, and it was just like, I guess it's the bottom of the barrel. We at La Cave University. This is D2, and it's like I'm playing a club sport. Cool. This is nothing what my dreams like led up to.
Bucket list did not contain rugby.
Yeah. So at that point, it was this competition. It was just like, let's just do it, and it was cool because I was good at it. Surprisingly enough, I was good at it. Like, I almost made the B team for like some crazy all-star team, like for like the PA all-star team, and we were only a club sport. We beat D1 schools that year. Like, they beat Penn State and everything. And, like, the year after it, like, it became a school sport. And, like, I feel like I helped with that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wasn't there all the time because it was a club sport. And I didn't care about it that much. Like, and that was the difference between, like, football. Like, I was, like, doing football. I had to go to study halls every day. I had to wake up every day to go to, like, lifting and make sure I was at class on
disciplined.
Time. It was so disciplined. Like, I had to make sure I was on time for class. Like, one of the coaches is standing at the door because he knows we, like, suck at getting at his class on time. And it was like, I hated having to, like, debate every day after a football workout. Like, am I going to take a shower or go to breakfast? And at that time in your life, you're 18. It's like, I'm going to breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this shower. Fuck this shower. I'm going to breakfast. I'm taking my ass straight to class, and I'm going to go to sleep in class, but I'm there.
Right. Sometimes you got to make it happen.
Yeah, and you know my homies is going to look out for me. Like, the coach come to the door, like, yo. Yeah. And the teachers knew, too. They was like, oh, these are football players, so I got to pick on them. And they already know that, like, if we play football, we had to sit in the first 3 rows of the class.
Damn.
That was the football, like, law.
Okay.
It was like, oh, okay, you got to sit in the first 3 rows of the class in every class.
Damn.
And I was like, man, I can't go to sleep.
Yeah. You can't skate. You got to be really present.
You got to be there. You got to be active. You know what I mean? Because the teacher's going to tell coach. Teacher's going to tell coach. That's just how it was. But
going back to the grind here, when you were talking, I was thinking, talk to me about how you are navigating your daytime job plus your gig life, because that, and also being a father.
Yeah,
we talked about this before the interview started. It's the different hats you're wearing. It's you're constantly moving. It feels like that. I told my wife last night, I need a 25th hour in the day. Yeah, I feel like, you know what I mean? That. So share that with me. How's that like with you?
It's tough. You already know it. Like, the hustle's tough. Like, I mean, all right. So, I mean, like, a normal day for me is like, I'll wake up at like 4 a.m. Get to work around like 4:30. Like, that's on a good day.
Yeah.
Like, it's on a good day. You know, like, we're trash men. Like, we kind of make up our own schedules, whatever. But yeah, on a good day, up at 4, working at 4:30. Usually done work around like 1:30.
Okay.
And at that point, like, I used to have this like straight hustle. I used to have this straight grind. I would go to the gym like an hour right after I'd be done work. You know, and I'd get that workout in because it was just like mental and also physical. It was very like soothing. You know, it was like my therapy at that time, because if I wasn't doing that, I was doing like garden shit.
Okay.
Like, gardening was like my shit for a while too. But like, so after that, you know, like, it's right now in this world, it's the social media grind. You know, it's putting the emails in. It's setting up, like, trying to set yourself up for success. So I'm like emailing people, going on Instagram, liking stuff, saying, hey, would love to play there, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, it's probably around like 5, 6 o'clock. Try to have a rehearsal. So, I mean, like, I usually have a rehearsal like 3 days out of every week, like, with different projects that I'm doing. And if it's not that, it's like trying to cut a track with somebody, putting drums on somebody's track. But like, juggling all of that is just setting reminders, setting alarms, and
multiple alarms.
Just multiple alarms. And I've slept through gigs, man.
Oh, really?
I've slept through gigs. Like, it's not good. You know, like, I've burned myself out plenty of times. Like, I've slept through gigs. Like, I was supposed to have a gig in the city one time, and I set an alarm for like an hour later. I was like, I'm going to take an hour nap. I woke up, it was like 4 hours later. I was like, I've done that multiple times. So, I mean, it's definitely a grind, because I look at the time that I have without my kids is like just very slim. You know, like, I fill it up as much as I can, because I don't want to miss that much time with my kids right now, especially like at the age that they're at right now. And like I get my kids every weekend. I mean, not every weekend, every other weekend. Sorry. So yeah, that time I have is just, it's filled with just like how can I build my brand, or as far as my legacy for my kids, and also just in general as much as I can in this like short time space, as far as myself comparing myself to like the industry. You know, you got kids out here that's like teenagers like with deals. You know, you got other musicians that are like 11 years old that are playing way better than you, and you're like, I'm gonna like break that kid's hands. Like, there's no way that this kid is 11 years old.
Yeah, he's gonna get got. He's done.
Yeah. I see this kid out in public. It's over. But no, like that's it's not like a hate thing with the jealousy. No, you know what I mean? It's a love thing with the jealousy. It's like, I want these kids to flourish. Like I said, because I know I'm not gonna be that best musician, but like the time thing is tough, because I'm booking gigs for like 4 bands right now. You know, I'm booking gigs for Cabbage Hill. I'm booking gigs for me and Amelia. I'm booking gigs for Sunflow. And
Beautiful Migration is
and that's something that like I'm really working on right now, and a lot of people don't know that I'm working on that. Okay. But we gotta like revamp that, because I don't want that to die. So like I'm working on a lot of that. So like I said, back to the whole social media grind and just being active and like being in different places, in different venues, just to try to just talk to somebody and introduce yourself. Maybe drop a card off. Like, I don't even drop cards off a whole lot of time, you know, and that's just because I've been grinding for these past 2 years, that like somewhat now it's kind of like a 50-50 type of hustle. You know, I don't have to do all the work. Yeah, I don't have to always do all the work. You know, people come to me. Like, I get phone calls right now, and I'm just like, yeah, cool. And I'm just like, all right, we got 3 gigs on Saturday.
Okay, nice, yeah.
It's like, so we're going to figure this out. We got 3 gigs. But that's what I mean. It's a good thing, but it's also when you have to realize that you got to like focus in on the time that you're giving to these other projects. It's like which one do you focus all, or the majority of the time on? Yeah. Which one do you kind of make that extra leap for? You know, which one do you focus on? Yeah. Which one do you make the most out of it you can? Because I mean, like, there's musicians everywhere, and I had to learn that the hard way. Like, instead of playing 20 times in one open mic, you know, I had to realize, yo, there's some drummers out here. I'm trying to pass the torch. Got you. I can't do everything. Like, I can do everything, but I want to focus on these things. And I want them to focus on their things. And this is a whole collective. Like somebody said this to me before. He was like, you understand, like, how better, like, the whole community would be music-wise if, like, we all worked together more? You know, if we were all just, like, exchanging people, you know, and, like, working together, crossing platforms as far as, like, that, and not just worried about, like, oh, they're a solo person, they're just going to do their thing. And I was like, yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Considering everything that you talked about, there is a flip side to that scene where there are people that strictly just work on their own. They don't want to collab or
right.
Wow.
Right, and this was an older guy. This was an older guy telling me about this. He was telling me about like groups that I didn't even know about in Lancaster, and he was just like, yeah, this one group, and like I said, I don't know any names. Yeah. He was like, this one group, he would do this cover, and he was like, he would do his originals, and they were great. He was like, what if people would do covers of other people here in Lancaster?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like, that's interesting.
I was just over here like,
I was like, this is interesting.
That's interesting. Okay, I got you.
I was just like, all right. Like I'm gonna always listen to whoever wants to talk to me, you know. And so like this guy just telling me all this, and I was like, this is interesting. Like it's homage for the city. I give him that, but it's also like inviting that collaborative like effort. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like I see what you're doing. I respect it. I'm gonna cover your song. It's no disrespect to you. I'm not saying I can do it better, but I'm just saying like I want to do your song and I'm gonna credit you on this song.
Yeah.
But like I'm keeping it local, you know. It's in a sense of just like everybody going out and just doing like Superstition.
Gotcha.
Or like I Wish, like Stevie Wonder songs. Like at one point those weren't covered songs that much, you know. People were afraid to touch them, and now it's like people were touching them like every fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't we do that with people around here, you know? It's like, why can't we be that in touch musically with people in our own bubble, in our own circle, as much as we are to like don't get me wrong, those are classic hits, you know, those are timeless hits. They're always going to be that way.
They've been done.
Yeah. And they're always going to be done.
They're always going to be getting done
everywhere.
Sure.
And so it's like, why can't we like try to like do something like that, which is interesting. Like he literally, this old guy just talked to me like maybe 2 weeks ago about this, and I was just like, I don't know, dude.
I think it's super dope, but I can also, a part of me is kind of like, is it too soon?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, because everybody's so green and raw and hungry,
right?
Where it's almost kind of like I could see that happening if you have somewhat of a local name that's recognized for some time, that other people be like, you know, like shout out to such and such from Lanc, you know, we're going to cover them.
Right.
You know, like
I
that
can
I could see that.
Yeah, they've established something a little bit, you know, but it's not just like somebody down the street that did a cover or did their original open mic, and then you're doing
a cover of it. Like,
that's what I mean.
Who knows what the original?
Right. Even if they got like the Spotify, you can listen to it there.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna know it's a cover, and then you can say it's a cover, and it's like it's a little confusing. But still, the collaborative effort of all of that just in the city is something that's like been growing a lot.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a musician, so I can like chameleon that way a lot. You know, I feel like it might be harder for like maybe like a rapper or a singer. You know, depending on the direction of it. But I mean, still that it crosses streams all the time. Like Amelia was on Tone Roof's song. Yeah. You know, doing the hook on that, and it was beautiful. Yeah. You know, and I'm doing a song with Lael. Like I'm doing drums on Lael's track, and I'm doing drums on Amelia's track, and I can't even say that part.
No, I dig it.
Yeah. I didn't even talk to her yet about the next part. But
it's all good.
Beautiful Migration is gonna be something.
I only brought that up because I saw it on social media, and I was kind of like writing down what I was assuming were groups that you were in. Yeah. And so I think it was Sunflow. You said Sunflow. Yeah, Sunflow. That was another one that I noticed, and I was just like, the staying busy, staying consistent. It's easy for. I want to say this because this is how I look at my own situation, and I'm curious how you feel. Okay. But it's easy to just like keep a simple schedule. Pick a job that you can do. Your job, you go to work, you come home, you clock in, you clock out. Yeah. But when you're busy doing something that you're passionate about, so busy that things get difficult. Yeah. It's almost like that's how you know somebody's passionate about what they're doing, is that they're willing to eat this shit for a while. Yeah. Because it's just, there's just something about it. Like you said, it called you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's almost like when I listen to these stories, yours included, and I think about like what I'm dealing with the podcast, where it's just like, man, why do I deal with this shit? I deal with it because it's like every day, it's like another day of like, let's go. I got an idea. Let's go. I feel something. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I kind of liken that to what I see in you with the many different groups that you're working with, the many hats that you're wearing. Like what's the goal? What's the game plan? Is that being able to adapt and freelance always going to be there for you, or are you trying to navigate into like an actual band and roll with that?
It's definitely not like, I don't want to freelance forever. Like I want to make this something that's And when I say freelance, when I'm talking about that, I mean like I don't want to be playing in like 5 bands.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing multiple projects, I want it to be mostly like studio driven. You know, I want to be able to put my drums on a lot of people's music. I also want to be able to put my drums on. I want to compose. I want to do a lot with like movie soundtracks and stuff like that. So I want to
keep you in mind because I'm writing a screenplay.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I mean.
That's a goal of mine.
There's so many different like angles you can come at the music industry.
Yeah.
You don't have to just focus on being the next like Usher.
Yeah.
Or being the next like Questlove or whatever. Yeah. Drummer sense and my sense. Like there's so many ways you can go about it. So it's just how can I make my passion lucrative, but also make it that it's something that doesn't feel like work.
Right.
And so that's where it always comes down to. I don't want to be in all these bands. I want to focus on those avenues. Like if I can be in 1 or 2 bands, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I want to really create, and that's why the whole open mic thing was so like crucial, because then I could go around and meet different people and like figure out their vibes and like, oh, okay, this is where you're going. This is where you're going. I like your sound. I really want to work with you long term, or I want to work with you in this project, or just like I want to do something with you. Like at the same time, like you want to be super busy, but you can't work with everybody. Like it's a very thin line. You got to be able to like cut it off at some points. Like I had a folk band email me to play for them, and I was like, I can't play folk.
Yeah.
Like I love like the versatility I have. I was like,
folk like what? Like Mumford and Sons or Dave Matthews? Or?
Folk like okay, maybe Mumford and Sons-ish, but more like Renaissance Fair.
Oh, okay.
And like shout out to Jeremy, like he does Renaissance Fair, and like I was going to do some stuff out with him, but like there was just something that I knew that I don't think that was the direction I wanted to go in.
Gotcha.
Like I respect you, I love you, I want to play with you, but not in this area.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
So it's playing enough to build that base, but then it's just like, what is your niches?
Yeah.
What is your real niches there? Because you can do it all. You can go down in history as playing on 30,000 tracks. But it's like, did you really put yourself on those tracks? It's like I'd rather have like 1,000 tracks that I really put myself into because of the people that I was working with. Like, you got to remain humble through all of that. And you got to work with a lot of people, but you just got to learn yourself.
Yeah.
You got to learn yourself because, like you said, I can't freelance forever. We need 25 hours in a day.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's the only way. Like, there has to be more time. So, like there's going to be days where you have 3 gigs in one day, and there's going to be weeks where you have, or there's going to be months where you have 3 gigs in 1 month.
Yeah.
You know? But you got to, like, learn that passion is still there, though, no matter how much of quantity of the gigs that you have and everything like that, because quantity will always be there.
I got you.
You just got to worry about the quality and working with like the right people for your sound. So yeah, I can't freelance forever.
Yeah,
I can't. It's tiring.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's tiring. Like I love everybody that I play with, but
well, especially when you're trying to like, when you start doing what you love, you're also starting to map out like your career.
Yeah.
Like, especially when we get older. Like I'm 44, so I dig it. Like when you're like, okay, these days and weeks now go fast. Years go fast. Right. So I need to really start locking in where I need to be and what I need to be doing. This isn't a game anymore.
No, it's not a game.
And so I can only imagine when you just said 3 gigs in one day, and I'm like, holy fuck, like that to me, my anxiety just right now took over my whole body, because it's wow. Yeah.
It's driving. I mean, but it's also just like it's more than just driving. It's figuring out like the bang for your buck. It's picking the right stuff. You know, you can't just accept everything. You know, like there was a time where I was gonna be like playing a gig in like DC, and then I was supposed to play a gig in Harrisburg like the same day.
Wow.
It's like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Take the gig in Harrisburg. Don't take the gig in DC.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You know,
it's closer.
Yeah, you got to think about it that way. I mean, because like as musicians, we're our own salesman. We're our own agent. You know, we have to market ourselves. You know, the same way you are.
Yeah.
You know, and so like you have to set up all the gigs. You have to like let people know what you need, what you don't need. You know, and you have to be as fully transparent as you can about what your product is, and then you know, being a businessman, like you got to put your rates out.
Yeah.
You know, and like some people you may cut your rates for, some people you might not, but it's like it's just that middle ground. It's all that chemistry. It's all that connections. It's building up your base as far as like your buzz, as far as like how demanded are you. You know, people need that. That's just how the world goes around. You know, but like I'm not worried about that all the time. I'm not worried about who's the hottest. Who do I need to play with that's the hottest?
Okay.
Like I play with people that like I gravitate towards. Like this one kid, Mauricio, like he's fire. And every time I've talked to him, like we gotta play. And like finally I was just like, yo, here's my calendar. Let's make it happen. Like you're kind of new to me. I don't know how new you are to others, but I want to play with you, you know, and I'm not worried about the outcome.
Okay.
I'm worried about the present. I'm worried about how we can make music. I'm worried about how we can express ourselves. I'm not worried about money right now.
Right.
You know, and so that's another thin line, like between the business side and like the passionate side. But
well, when you said kind of like when for certain people you might cut the rate, it's I guess that comes down to like the vibe and like what you the potential of the good music that you could be making outweighs your financial gain with that person. Like obviously everybody knows like we got to make bread and we got to do what we got to do, but there are times like I've done that where it was kind of like one hand washes the other because I respect you and I see what you're doing and we can help each other grow.
Exactly.
And then there's other people where it's just like, nah, we're going to have to just keep this business because it just is what it is.
Yeah. No, I've played gigs before where I got paid, but I paid other people in the band.
Okay.
You know, just because like my travel wasn't far.
Yeah.
Compared to their travel.
Yeah.
I respect them, you know, as far as
up, though.
all of that, you know, like I've done that. Like I've literally gotten checks and then just taking like nothing.
Yeah.
You know, just because I want my bandmates to enjoy it and also still like, you know, be able to make money. Like my aunt said this to me one time, and I was like, man, auntie, like you calling me out. She was like, oh,
that's what aunts do though.
She was like, oh, you still playing these gigs for gas money? I was like,
damn. Don't put it out there like that.
And then like I got real defensive. I was like, no. And then I was thinking, I was like, yeah, I am. I was like, I don't even care though. I don't even care. Like it's about the legacy. It's about the long term. You know, you can't worry about like the groundwork you put in on that. Like nobody made $1 million overnight.
No.
I mean, I feel like that's a lie. Actually, now that I say it out loud.
I mean, you got your
somebody did
once in the blue lucky people that, you know, hit the lottery, but you're right. For the most part, everybody else is out here, you know, putting pieces to a puzzle together that's slowly going to. And again, I go back to like I bring up the word passion, where it's just like when there's something, because that's another thing I've learned is like when you're passionate about something, all that other shit doesn't really stand out to you.
Yeah.
The money, the time, the worry, it's just all like, well, let's just do it. Let's do it because we're in the moment. This is good. and we'll worry about everything else later. It's not on some like irresponsible shit. It's just like sometimes you just gotta go.
It's a faith thing.
Yeah. You just gotta go and be like,
it's a faith thing all the way. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. Investing in these other people, like giving them, you know, the financial ends that I would have been getting, you know, knowing that like I have to pay my own bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, but that partnership, you know, with some of these people, it becomes more than just that business.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, passion. Like I've said, passion. Like,
well, it's good karma too. It's just putting something out in the universe that's good.
Exactly.
It comes back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I believe in that shit.
I believe in it too. I believe in it 100-fold.
So the last couple seasons of the podcast, when I wrap up, I always would ask, and I've already asked this question to you, but I would always end the interview by asking, what's your game plan for the next 5 or so years?
Okay.
But I wanted to change it this season by asking a different question. And I don't know what the question is until I'm talking with my guests, and then I kind of formulate it. So, considering everything we talked about, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's beginning to venture into the life as a musician?
It's the same advice that like all the greats that I've studied ever told me, really. You know, and that's just be humble. That's just be humble. Be willing to learn. You know, be willing to like, you know, get sat on your ass a few times until you figure out like, oh shit, this is what I need to be doing. Like, I need to listen. I need to sit back a little bit. You know, I gotta find my groove. Like, I can't try to be like this person. You know, as much as I steal from that person, I can't be that person.
Yeah.
You know, so it's about finding your own sound and just not comparing yourself. Like, don't compare yourself to somebody else. Like, there's been great songs written with thousands of words, and there's been wonderful songs written with very little words. You know, it's not about the content all the time. It's just about the passion behind it. You know, it's about what emotions are you putting yourself in that environment? Are you putting yourself through your guitar? Are you putting yourself through your keys, through your voice? Can people feel you? You know, I feel like if you're able to conquer all of those things and really shine to the best of your abilities, you know, and know where your faults are, and take those faults and use them as just ammunition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I take all my faults every day and I'm like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. And then I'm like, I'm going to practice. Maybe I practice, maybe I don't, but maybe it's in my mental, and it's like basically just staying hungry.
Yeah.
You know, never be complacent and just always stay hungry and always just be willing to collaborate with people. You know, like there's so many different musicians out there. Like, you never know like who's like gonna like change you or influence you in a way that makes things just make sense. Like, from a music perspective, because there's music theory, and it's just like, music theory is a whole beast that I can't understand at all. But there's people out there that know it. They have perfect pitch and everything like that.
Yeah, I've heard stories like that.
Yeah, and like you get with these people, and you're just like, wow, like these people are out there, and they wanna like share their knowledge. You know, it's not that they're just like, oh, I want to be the best and I'm not going to ever...
And gatekeep everything else.
Yeah. No, these people want to share their knowledge. These people want you to ask questions like, do you research on your people? And like, don't be afraid to be a fan.
Yeah, right?
You know, don't be afraid to be a big, fat fan. Like, be all over them. Like, not like in person, but like as far as like...
Don't be a stan.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But like really like dive into people and dive into yourself, you know, at the same time. Because when I've watched different drummers like speak out to me, it's like, if I look at them, I wouldn't say, oh, that person's cool. or
Gotcha.
you know what I mean. But like, I close my eyes and listen to him. Like, who the hell is this person?
Yeah.
And I look at him, some like 60-year-old guy, like bald as hell, and I'm like, this guy's killing it. And I'm like, what does he have? Because it's like I'm comparing simple, just like time gaps. You know, something with music is something that's timeless. So it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter if this song was from 1930 and then you turned around and did a song in 2030.
Yeah.
And you never heard that song before, but somebody's like, yo, your song sounds just like this song. And then they're just like, oh, you stole it. And it's like, nah, it's not even stolen. It's something that's in music.
Yeah.
It's something that's in music that's spoken. And even if you did go back and bite it or whatever, sample it, like, you're paying homage to that.
Sure.
You know, don't look at it in the sense of just like, oh, I have to change music all the time.
Well, it also helps reintroduce new, you know, I've always felt like sampling, when done right, it was paying homage. It's paying homage and also like introducing people to that sound, because I know I did it, and I don't know if everybody did it, but every time I heard a sample, I would always kind of be like, what sample is that? You know? And it was almost like one day when you heard, especially now that the internet's at our fingers, all the songs that I grew up with in the 90s, it's almost like, yo, I remember that song. That song was sampled. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's paying homage. It is. I can appreciate,
especially when they do it right. Like when they do it right. Because I mean, it's all over the place. It's always gonna be all over the place, but still, it's something that's just. It's a two-way. It's a two-way. You know, it's a two-way street. You know. So I always just respect all these people. You know, and like sometimes I get mad. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't. Sometimes I get mad at people, like, but that's just personal, and that's just in the moment. It's never to their face. And I'm just like, this is horrible. This sucks. This sucks. But then, like, I give myself some time. Like, it takes time for me to digest a lot of things. Like, people send me tracks, like, sometimes it either goes one or two ways. Sometimes I'm either like, I know exactly what I'm doing, or the other way it's like, I don't know what the fuck to do here. I don't even want to play this. But then, like, you know, I give it some time. You know, I give it the driving test. You know, I drive with it.
That's the best test.
You know what I mean? I give it the driving test. I drive with it. I go to the gym with it. Like, when I was going to the gym that often, and it's just, and give it different tests. I try to put myself in the song instead of like just segregating myself from everything. I always try to put myself in everything. Yeah. You know, like country music, for example. Never wanted to play it, but like played it, and I was like, "Yo, this is like fucking black church music." Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just that, be open to every music genre, be open to every criticism you can get. Word. Be humble. Love your passion and love learning. Yeah. You know, and love the roller coaster that you're going to be on, because that's exactly what it is. Like, I played drums. I started playing drums. I didn't think about, the fact that I had to buy drums.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't think about that. Like, more drums. I was like, I just got drums. Like, I'm cool, right? Like, nah.
You gotta replace the drums.
You gotta pack the drums.
Yeah, I was about to say,
You gotta travel with the drums. Like, they didn't tell you that when you first was like, what instrument you gonna play? Okay, keep in mind you gotta have an F-150 to carry all your carry all your gear. Like, all right, I ain't know that. Let me play the flute.
Lucky you.
Let me play the flute then. I'm good. But no, just love whatever, you know, speaks to you, I feel like.
Word. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate this conversation. Like I said, you know, I saw you drumming away there behind, right by Dipco, and my wife and I were enjoying the vibes. And for whatever reason, it worked out. I'm grateful I got you here.
Me too.
Kieran, is it Kieran? Kieran?
Kieran, yeah.
Kieran, brother, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you, bro.
This is it.